The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here I am. Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday's show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Right out of the gate, this is a special episode. We're recording it on Monday night because we have a full day of shooting on Tuesday, and otherwise we were going to have to get up at like 6 a.m. to do it, and that's just not going to happen. And we would be all groggy and weird. And this way we're like jazzed. What is it, 8 o'clock at night here in Cabo?
Yeah.
Andrew's here. Noah is not here.
Yep.
She had jujitsu class or something fun, right?
I mean, I thought you fired her.
Well, this is just the beginning of the end.
Oh, okay. It's
no,
like gonna be
Noah's
a slow
not going fucking anywhere.
I'm kidding.
If you notice anything during this show, it's that it's very... you can tell Noah is not here.
No one's steering the ship.
Oh, no. We are...
There's an old man. There's just a claw.
I don't know anything about
And
sails
the ship is just...
or steering.
Yeah. We're no compass. We're in the night sky trying to use the Northern Star.
I'm
but
using
we're
the
looking
Big
south.
Dipper. And I'm even looking at the Little Dipper. And also, that doesn't tell you much of anything.
No, it just makes me want ice cream.
Do you ever see Orion's belt? Those are the ones I can see.
I don't wear belts.
You don't?
No.
Wait, why? I've never seen you wear a belt.
Yeah.
Why not?
Guys don't wear belts anymore. It's not a thing.
That's not true.
I only wear a belt if I tuck in a shirt. I never tuck in a shirt.
Why don't you tuck in a shirt?
Because when do I need to tuck other than golf? And then I've learned that I don't even
Why do you have to tuck on a golf course?
There's just morals and
Morals?
rules. Yeah.
There's no morals on a golf course. There's like it's country club etiquette type stuff.
It's weird because if you dress perfect, you could talk about how you cheated on your wife with your maid.
Yes.
And everyone laughs, but you got your shirt tucked in, so you're a good guy.
So fucked up.
Yeah, so...
we're doing an episode without Noah just because she couldn't be at this one, but by God darn it, she's going to be putting in all the things that we need, all the sound effects that we're not even going to probably use today. And Noah doesn't even know we're doing this. We're being bad little podcast hosts.
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
Please don't tell Noah, you guys.
She will listen to it, but don't tell her.
She has to listen, but do not tell her after she's listened to it and put this out there because we're doing something bad. We're going off script big time.
Yeah, we're trying something here that might burn worse than what we'll
talk about later. Future ham drip. Okay, drip ham.
Post ham? Ham drop.
Ham drop. So that's a future callback that you'll get later and you'll go, oh, that really wasn't worth how much time they spent on that. So this is what we're doing. We got into a conversation on the way back from a shoot today about the charts. You said that we were doing pretty well in the charts. I said, how well? And you were like, well, I had to dig a little bit, but I found us.
Yes.
We charted.
We're charting.
Thank you so much, you guys, for listening to us and telling your friends about us. And I'm so flattered that people enjoy us. And I'm always looking on the subreddit podcast to see if people are talking about us. They never are, but those people are snobs and they listen to like very highly curated podcasts, which ours is more free-flowing daily show. And I think they're more listening to ones that we're going to cover today. Because what are we doing today? We're taking on the top number one podcast. Yes.
We're not taking it on.
I'm taking it on.
Oh, we're going after it.
Well, we're actually going to do a podcast about a podcast.
Yes.
Because we were talking about the number one podcast, and you said that the number one podcast is this podcast called Morbid.
Yes.
Right? It's a murder podcast. Mm-hmm. I actually heard about this podcast last week because I was talking with David Spade, who has a new podcast out that's doing very well, and it was number 2 in comedy, but he was like a little annoyed because he was like, Morbid, this podcast Morbid was number 1, but is it a comedy? It's like a murder podcast. And I'm like, well, there can be comedy podcasts, but also just know that you're number 1 in comedy because don't count them. Because,
and Morbid's number 1 overall.
Yeah, so they can have overall, and like, that's great. Like, do you need, it's like when, at the Emmys where they do like a musical or comedy series. And it's like, what musical series are there?
Yeah. And then Mamma Mia wins.
Yeah, okay. Maybe there are musical series. I don't know. There's some kind of category.
I get what you're saying.
Category.
I get what you're saying.
So anyway, I was like, what's this Morbid about? Because it's doing pretty darn well, and I like murder podcasts. I've listened to Generation Y. I've listened to
Serial.
Serial was my very, very favorite. The first one. The second one I just couldn't really get into, like most people. But I definitely dabble in murder podcasts. If I read about a cool murder or like something like very interesting on, the subreddit podcasts where they're like, this episode, check out this episode, I'll like go into that episode of that podcast. But Generation Y is one that I really liked, and it's just bare bones. I don't really want comedy mixed in with my murder.
Okay. You don't need like a little ginger with your hot freaking sake? Or not hot sake,
like
your
ginger
hot
spice.
sushi?
And I do a palate cleanser, you're saying. Well, I take the palate cleanser as the MeUndies ad that I have to sift through.
Okay.
After I hear about a woman being brutally raped and
I mean, it goes together,
burned
I guess.
alive.
The guy went in under MeUndies. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it works.
For you like a little, but you don't listen to murder podcasts.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times the ad will be like, she was brutally murdered and her skin was pulled off her body. All right, now here's an ad from Stamps.com. Like, it has nothing to do with it, which is, I think, even weirder. I think you got to connect it kind of like, SPF sunscreen should be with someone that got their body skin peeled off.
No, those don't connect because it would not protect you from fire.
Huh?
SPF would not protect you. Maybe it'd protect you for 1 second.
Yeah. SPF 6000? That'll protect you from a flamethrower.
Oh
Anyways.
my God.
Yeah. I just think it's fun. Okay.
So what we wanted to do was we go, let's listen to this podcast. Let's listen to the latest episode
Maybe
of
we could
this
learn
podcast,
something, like
Morbid.
what we could do.
Listen, it's great to consume other podcasts, especially the #1 podcast, and I decided to give it a try. So we listened to the same episode. This is episode number 185
or 275.
Something like
the
one
latest
of those.
one. The latest one.
Yes, the latest one. But it was on Saturday, and it's the murders of Mary Morris. And yes, I said murders of the Mary Morrises, because there were 2 women named Mary Morris who were murdered.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a tongue twister.
295.
295. They were murdered on the day after each other, one after the other, in the Houston, Texas area, about 40 minutes or 40 miles from each other. Now, I don't know which one. I'm sure they're not both the same, but does it really matter to you if it was 40 minutes or 40 miles? Right? It does. Who cares?
No, I mean, it depends how fast. If you're driving 100 miles per hour, same thing.
Hindsight's always 40-40. So
True.
you go, let's go back to the year 2000. We're talking pre-9/11. Towers haven't fallen yet. I always date things. When I see a date around that time, I go, oh my God, either we were just affected by it or it hadn't happened yet.
But do you think a murder in Houston is getting affected by whether the towers fall or not?
Yes, there's just a different vibe in the air after 9/11. People were a little bit more anxious. That's when we started to turn against each other. Things started. I think things were weird. There was anxiety going on.
Okay.
Right after and right
this
before.
Was before. So there was.
You were taking people to the gate to say goodbye.
So
TSA
the guy that murdered
was just like a
these
pat on
women-
your fucking shoulder and to make sure you weren't.
The guy that murdered these women wasn't anxious at all because it was pre-9/11. This guy was normal who just had a bad day.
So it must have taken a lot for this to happen. And you think, what I think about the towers is that
Cell phone
pretty
tower.
much, I think cell phone towers, because around 2001, that's when like cell phones became ubiquitous, and that's a big thing in solving crimes.
I
Is
thought you were
like
gonna
if
say-
there's cell phones.
That's a big word. I really thought you were going with
It is a big word, and I'm proud I used it in a correct way.
Okay, can I ask a
When
question?
did you get your cell phone? Your first cell phone?
I didn't believe in cell phones. I didn't believe in email. I am quoted as
You can't
saying...
not believe in it. You
I'm
didn't believe in
quoted
it for yourself.
in college, sophomore year in college, in the year 1999, I am quoted as saying, I don't believe in email. I don't see it being a thing. And boy, was I right for my email. You get way more emails than me.
You also weren't using Amazon until COVID. You
Yes.
really stay away from things that are going to keep you from connecting with your fellow man. But were you
And
actually
woman,
going
yeah.
to the post office to send letters? Were you finding... I feel like you
No, I
weren't
was
someone
off the
who would
grid.
ever find a stamp. You wouldn't have even known how to go about that. So you weren't corresponding with anyone.
I might have bought 9 stamps in my life.
When did you finally go, okay, I got to get an email address, I guess? When you started doing comedy and they were like, How are we gonna book
probably
you?
with real estate. I remember getting a Gmail when I started real estate. I had a Hotmail account in college, just because that's how professors started to get in touch with you. I didn't believe in email. I didn't want a cell phone. I didn't believe in cell phones, and then I really didn't believe them when I got one. And then I called my girlfriend, and I would talk to her on the phone for about like 1,000 minutes over. I would just hear her breathe. I was like, "Do you want to just sleep together on the phone throughout the night?" And then my dad called me the next day. He's like, "Really? Fucking, you're $800 above." Actually, he didn't call me. I just realized that.
Yeah, but he was paying the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have to call him and be like, "Hey, I fell asleep."
Listening to this person who hates me breathe. I fell asleep listening to her grinding.
Yeah, I was
against
listening to white
another
noise. Yeah, while she was fucking the quarterback.
Speaking of
Which one?
quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, you're really.
Is he a quarterback?
Let's throw it out there. Let's see what happens. Does
No,
anyone know?
no, I'm a taken woman. I have no interest.
For me,
For you?
Jimmy Garoppolo. If you're out there and you want to do a threesome,
Oh my God. Why aren't more people talking about that guy?
they are, man.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What? Really?
Yeah.
He's one of the most perfect looking people I've ever seen in my life. Like movie stars, and he's not even in movies,
He's like if Joe Namath had a nose job.
I don't know. I know the name Joe Namath.
Yeah.
I know Joe's Namath, but I don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't put a face. Didn't he have blonde hair, Joe Namath?
No, Joe Namath had like long, like wavy hair, and he wore like big feather coats, and he played for the Jets, and he won the Super Bowl, and he's from Alabama, and he talks like this.
Okay.
And he was just a sex symbol. He was like Burt Reynolds, like hairy chest.
Right. I mean, I've heard the name a bunch. It's one of those guys that I know the name. I could never pick him out of a lineup. Speaking of lineups, there's not one for these murder cases because no one knows who the fuck did it, but we have some speculation. Now, what happened was in October 2000, this is October 12th, and I believe like 13th or something, the 12th and 16th. So I guess they were a couple days apart. These two women named Mary Morris were murdered outside of Houston. That is weird. Do you know any Mary Morrises? Because I was thinking in my brain.
I knew two. No. I never knew a Mary Morris. I know there's that singer, Maren Morris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never listened to anything she's done.
She's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She's so little and cute. I think it made me jealous, and I go, I don't need this.
I saw her at Sirius once, I remember.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they were doing like the Birds of Country tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Lilith Fair of Country with her and two other country artists.
So no, I've never met a Mary Morris. So the fact that two of them die within a few days from each other, that is
wild.
weird.
It is wild, and because I don't know a Mary Morris either. And let's be honest. One of this woman's name is Mary Lou Morris, and the other is Mary McGinnis Morris.
Not that close.
I think maybe they're just being like, I don't know if it was their maiden name was more, like they're trying to make it both Morrises, but I think they were both Mary Morrises. So they were murdered. Some would say, like, right away they go, this is a hitman who got the wrong Mary Morris and then had to quickly find the other one. Did you get to that?
I fell asleep.
This is the interesting thing is this is Andrew's idea was to take a murder podcast, listen to it, and then talk about it on our podcast while Noah is away. The mice will listen to a murder podcast and talk about it and not really have any extra added information that you couldn't get from listening to Morbid. What point did you fall asleep in the scheduled listening of, and by the way, you fell asleep. We're supposed to record at 8.
Yeah.
I get a text from you at 7:15 that said, do you just want to do it now? If you fell asleep, why wouldn't you use the time between 7:15 and 8 o'clock? Now I'm suspecting you of some foul play. During the hours of 7:15 and 8 o'clock, you could have finished the podcast. What were you thinking we were going to do with this podcast?
Here's the thing. I did finish the podcast, but I missed about 20 minutes of when I was sleeping.
Right, but
then I could have gone back and listened to the 20. I kind of had an understanding of what happened at the end.
This is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to find out what Andrew
knows about the murder.
Thinks happened.
Okay.
And have him tell me about it. And I'm going to actually do what I've noticed in this murder podcast that I listened to called Morbid that I thought, I'm going to be honest, was going to have something other than just two people talking about the bare bones of a murder.
Yes.
Because
I thought it was going to be more.
Why did you think it was going to be more? Top of the charts?
Top of the charts.
I wanted
Serial.
more. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like...
He thought he was going to get a serial episode of like really great orchestration, like,
It felt like... I feel like we could easily... I'm not trying to be a dick, but or whatever. I'm kind of complimenting us. Like, if one of us actually decided to learn a little bit about the story, we could do this kind of podcast.
I'm going to do my best and honestly, this is just me listening to one podcast and then half of another one about the same case. And I'm going to try to make it compelling to you about this murder when we get back, and to see if I could do it, because I give these girls a lot of credit. They started the podcast in 2018. They didn't get famous overnight. They're not top of the charts. It's not something I can go, these girls just came out of nowhere. They earned this spot.
It's also a scary thing to do, I think, as two women doing a podcast that's number one in the fucking world. And there's fucking freaks out there that would love to fucking probably murder these women. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'd be scared to do a podcast like this that became that huge.
About murder? You'd think that people would want to murder you?
Yeah.
No, they don't. Murders aren't thinking that way, I don't think.
How many murders do you know?
Well, I'm sorry, but like, if you're going to murder someone, why wouldn't you just be scared of murdering anyone? Why would a murderer go, I'm going to go after someone who likes murder?
Because he wants to get on Netflix. He wants to get his own special.
But who's going to report on it if he murders the people that are talking about it?
Us.
No, I don't think murders do it to get talked about, but I don't know. I wonder if
hope it
this
doesn't happen. I mean,
yeah, of course. But I will say that listening to these girls talk about murder, and this is why I don't listen to murder podcasts, it made me fucking scared.
Yeah.
And I'm living alone here.
Yeah.
I had my fucking little porch veranda open because it goes out into nothing, and I closed it after listening for 15 minutes, even though these girls both have delightful little cheery voices, and there's nothing really that gruesome about these murders. I started getting the willies.
Nothing that gruesome, huh?
Not that viscerally compared to other stuff I've listened to. And it seems like
compared to the
porn
you
people
watch?
that did this aren't going to, compared to the searches I'm doing over there. So let's come back. I'm going to try to give you an actual good murder podcast based on what I heard from Morbid. And I'm also going to give commentary along the way that I would offer as a comedian. And I might do an impression of the girls' podcast a little bit.
I'd like to hear that impression.
Okay.
Because I have a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough said. We'll be back with more Nikki Glaser. The Nikki Glaser Podcast covers the Morbid episode about the Mary Morris Morbid murders. Pre 9/11.
Cell phones. Andrew! Coming.
And we're back. All right. It's October 2000. You thought I was going to say another number? I wasn't, baby.
I was waiting for a second, and then I remembered.
Nope, there's no other number coming with that. Now, Andrew,
yes.
Tell me about Mary Lou Morris. That is the first woman whose body is found.
Okay, I know a lot about this one because
Yes.
I was wide awake for this.
Her murder happened October 12th, 2000.
2000.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened with her is she woke up early in the morning. She blew her husband. Maybe. I don't know.
Allegedly.
No,
They've
there's
been
married for
no
17
one
years.
has alleged that. And 17 years, by the way, all of the numbers that we throw out, unless they're a very pertinent number, they're going to be off.
Yeah, something's not going to add up.
I like that you're using words that detectives use.
Okay, so Mary Lou Morris wakes up. She wakes up. She goes to work a little bit earlier than her husband. She turns down the road where...
What are you looking at?
I'm just thinking to myself.
Okay, I thought you were looking at notes or something.
No, I'm actually envisioning the story like freaking not Mission Impossible. Where he's up on the board.
We all know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one in the future where he's doing the things with the air and the screen.
Everything's like
Minority Report.
Yeah, Minority Report is just.
But yours is on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're using your eyes closed.
So. Yeah, he figured out murder, okay. And I'm most people are just trying to find a date or swiping through TikTok. But anyway, so she goes to, she makes a left instead of a right. That means she's going to get gas. It's 7 a.m.
Wait, what? You're saying this like these people? Can I just take you through this?
No. I'll do a good job. I promise.
But you just said she goes right instead of left. That means she's going to get gas. Why do you know that?
Because her husband saw her through the window.
Right. No, he walked her out to her car to kiss her goodbye. Mm-hmm. And then he watched her peel off.
Yes.
I assume she peeled off.
Yeah, she peeled off in her Dodge.
And then he goes,
yeah, and she popped her collar, her jean collar.
Now, what was she driving?
A Lumina.
A Chevy Lumina.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is going to lead to a joke later on for us. Now we're planting the
ham
seed
drop.
for a little. There's going to be a ham drop later. That is
Which
when
is a
that's
future.
a future ham drip. It's
Yes.
a call back, a call forward
It's a forward shadowing.
of a joke.
Yes.
Okay. So she peels off in her Chevy Lumina.
Yeah, she peels off. She goes to get gas.
Yeah.
She never gets to work.
She never goes to work.
And he knows that because the office called him and said, hey.
No. He doesn't know that. He just gets a call at 2:00. They do not say it's the office. Later on, they find out it's the office, but they're calling to see where Mary is.
Yeah, she never
And
shows up.
Apparently, it was her supervisor saying, is Mary there? And he said, no, she's at work. And then the person just hung up.
Which is a good way to cover if you're at the office if you killed her. And then you're like, oh, where is she? She never showed up. But that's weird.
So
people see
what happened at 10 a.m. that day?
people see a fire going off.
About 10 a.m., right?
About 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a lot of fires in this town outside Houston.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
a lot
the
of
cops get the call and they go,
they're like, yeah, we don't really
Fire's
care.
fire.
We're not really going to check in on it. But then when the guy gets a call and his wife isn't there, they get a phone call to cops. And now they start thinking, wait, what's going on with this fire thing? At 7 o'clock, someone
fire
else
still go. Oh, yeah, someone else calls about a fire.
Someone else calls, and they realize that she's not in the driver's. She's in the passenger seat up in the front, and the car's on fire, or was on fire. She's burnt. She's illuminated, or was illuminated.
Chevy Lumina.
She was Chevy illuminated.
Ham drip.
Ham dropped, back to drip, and then she's dead.
This car's been burning for 7 hours.
Yeah.
7 hours. I guess it's found at 5 o'clock, and it was reported at 10 o'clock. So it's burning for 7 hours. If that does add up.
Now the reason why
Now is this adding up?
It is adding up, and then the reason why it's adding up is we didn't talk about this. That her funeral was happening, and someone called about a funeral, and then there was someone else's funeral, another Mary funeral.
Oh God, you guys, I'm so sorry.
That was weird. What I just said there.
It was.
Yeah.
If you're confused, believe me, so was the girl that called the funeral home. We're trying to get you in the same state as the daughter who called the funeral home.
Yes.
About her mom, Mary Lou, who had died in the burnt car. She called the funeral home after her funeral and said, hey, I would like to get my mom's personal belongings.
Oh, yeah.
That were, I'm guessing, the burnt jewelry that was on her. And they said, we'll do that after the funeral. We'll give those to you. And she's like, what? We buried her yesterday. What are you talking about? And then that's when they realized there were 2 Mary Morrises murdered.
Mary McGinnis.
McGinnis.
Now,
Morris.
here's the thing. So then the guy kills her. They don't find anything.
Can I stop you
all
1
he
second?
took was her wedding ring.
Yeah.
See, I remember that.
And her purse.
And her purse.
But the purse could have been burnt up because this car was burning for 7 hours. Or it could have been a really cheap ring.
Could have been a really cheap ring or
And what did they use to burn the car?
manure.
What did they also say about this woman before she died?
That she was a great person. No one had one bad thing to say about
Not
her.
one person they could find. They searched the whole town and they said, is someone going to give us something bad about this woman? No one did.
One
because
lady
who is
said-
going to say anything
Yeah.
bad about a murdered woman after she's been murdered?
No one's going to see a woman charred alive and go, hey, man, she owed me $20. No one's going to do that.
Except her husband who filed a life insurance policy. No, that wasn't her husband. That was the other husband.
Okay, I don't know about this
So-
because this is where I fell asleep. No, I
Okay.
didn't fall asleep yet. So now,
Wait, can I? I'm about.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. The husband coming out and walking her to the road and kissing her goodbye and then watching her car go off and going, oh, well, she was going to work. She would have turned right, but I guess she's going to get gas. Is he in a Steve Martin rom-com? Like, is this
Yeah.
Father of the Bride 4? Who watches someone's car go off and just kind of gazes at it as it drives off in the morning all the way to the end of the road?
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's a weird thing to take note of. And
we used to have that joke where you would put me in a cab if I was going to the airport. I'd be like,
Oh, yeah, and I'd hit the
walking the
top
dogs,
of
and
it.
he'd go, "Take care of her, man. Take
Yeah.
good care." And I go, "Andrew, stop it." I go, "He is not anyone. He's my friend." And you'd be like, "Dude, take good care of her." And then you'd like pat the car, keep patting it as like he would just even as
And then
he was
you had to be
driving up-
left alone in that.
And then I had to be
Yeah.
alone and go, he is not like my husband or anything. He does not care if I'm going to be taken care of. You can drive any way you want.
But don't you think if I'm a husband and I know my wife is going to be murdered that day, I'm going to go, well, I walked her to the car. I took her here. Like, you have like all these like, it's like, did
That
you
husband has been fully exonerated, alibi, everything. He
I'm
had
just
nothing
saying.
to do with it.
I'm
But
just
I just
saying.
think it's a little weird. What I think happens is that when someone dies, you put in these moments of like sweetness and these tender moments that maybe just make it so that your last moments together are a little bit more special than they maybe were. But I don't know if you're out there, how many times have you watched your significant other drive off, maybe through the blinds so you can wait until they're turned around the corner so you can then put on porn on the big screen or something, you know what I mean?
That happened to my buddy. He was in his full suit and she left for work and he's jerking off through the hole in his suit and she came home to him.
She goes, you dress up for that?
No, he was already dressed up. Yeah.
Wait, so he was going to work and then before he went to work.
He's like, yeah, all right, you're going to work, honey. Bye. And she leaves and he's like all dressed. He's holding his briefcase. And he leaves, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to catch a beat while she's gone real quick. And she came back, and he's full, Versace suit, fucking illuminating his cock.
Wait a second.
Andrew.
Do you feel like now that you're living with someone, is watching porn just like I guess your girlfriend works.
Yeah.
And so you spend enough time that she could jerk off. You go golf, and if she wanted to, she could. And that if she were at work, you could.
Yeah. There's plenty of time.
But you save your stock.
I usually save my stock. But since Wellbutrin, I've been able to, a couple days before, I'm good. 2 days.
There are times when I'm regularly hooking up that I miss porn because it's not, you don't have to take care of someone else. Mm-hmm. It's very physically untaxing at all. Even as a girl who just lays back and gets it, there's a lot that goes into like having your body like penetrated and like having someone be on you. I mean, that I love. I mean, it's the best.
But it's very funny to say goodbye to your husband and you're in full work clothes and then you're just masturbating through your ball gown or whatever you wear to work,
Yes. I mean, that would be very, very weird.
So anyways,
yes.
Mary Morris.
So her husband watches her go off, and then she is found charred. Yeah. Well, very well done.
Yeah.
Andrew. I mean, her body was too. But good job on
recapping.
Yeah. Anything
else?
This
is when I kind of fell asleep. What
were you doing as you were listening to this? Like
I was laying in bed
with your eyes closed in like a meditative position.
Kinda, and then I was like, "Man, the wedding ring's gone." And then, you know what? The last thing I know.
Yeah, what's the last thing you remember? What's the last thing you saw that day? I feel like I'm trying to interrogate you about what happened to this woman. We should do a podcast called "Sleepy Man Listens to a Murder Podcast," and then we try to piece together.
You try to make him the murderer. And then
it's
he
a
has
solved case, but he doesn't get to the end of it, and you have to solve it based on the things he remembers.
This is like Wordle.
He gives you a promo code for Bowling Branch sheets.
Isn't like Wordle? Like you kind of give me little hints, and I have to figure out the end. Yeah. Okay, the last thing I remember though is that the husband said he found the wedding ring. They thought it was stolen.
That's the other woman. So you are.
Oh, so that's where I fell asleep,
later.
And then I went into the other. Okay, so now you go. You take it from here.
The other woman that was murdered she was a woman that worked in healthcare. She was formerly divorced, now had a new husband of about 4 years named Mike. And
Jay. There's a guy named Jay.
That was the other woman's husband. Feel free to keep shouting things that you remember.
But wasn't there a guy at her job that they think it was her?
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one?
It was the one I'm about to tell you about.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So there was a guy that this girl worked in healthcare, and she worked with a guy named, what is his name? Dwayne Young. Which, do you remember any reference to Dwayne Young? Mm-mm. So interesting. Okay. Well, Mary McGinnis was working in healthcare. She was married to a guy for about 4 years. New marriage. She had a daughter from another marriage, I believe, named Katie.
Okay.
His stepdaughter. She goes missing. I forget how she was missing. Okay, so let me just walk you through this. Are
you minority reporting over there?
I have so many notes on this woman. She was killed days before, and she was discovered on the day of the other woman's funeral. She was bubbly. She lived life to the fullest. She was in plays. She was in local theater. She had relocated her family from West Virginia to Texas a couple years prior with Mike. But she had a lot of stresses in her life, unlike the other Mary. Her husband had accused her of...
Her ex-husband.
No, her husband, her current husband. Jay!
Okay.
No, Mike. had found out she had been cheating on Mike.
Oh.
She had been having an affair. Mike found out about it. He confronted the guy who he thought it was. The guy and his wife both were like, that's not happening. And apparently they patched it all up and it was fine. And there was no issues there. But Mary's sister said things were not that good in her relationship. And that Mary was definitely looking towards going to divorce, even though they had been through couples counseling and things like that. That Mary was on her way to divorcing this guy. She also had work stress because she worked in healthcare, and there was this guy at work that was like, she just butted heads with a lot.
What was his name?
Dwayne.
Okay.
His name was Dwayne. What did I just say? Dwayne Young.
Okay.
And she actually went to the HR department to complain about Dwayne because he would just, one day she came back to her desk and all of her photos were facing the other way. And then
there was a threatening letter, wasn't there?
And then he also wrote a threatening note on her desk, allegedly him, not sure if it was him, that said, death becomes you. Death becomes her.
Oh, I thought I ate your second half of your
death
turkey
will
sandwich.
find you.
I thought. Sorry. I was dreaming.
So Dwayne at the time, he's also like active on message boards.
Okay.
I don't know what that has anything to do with. I thought that just placed us in the 2000s where people were
like
active
IM kind of stuff.
No, I mean message boards.
Oh,
that was
okay.
a whole other place where people would get on. I don't know what he talked about in those message boards, but he was active in them. This got so bad that she went to the HR department. They decided that they were going to fire Dwayne. Dwayne claims they never fired him. He put in his 2 weeks. There is no one can tell what's happened. What everyone in Mary's life says is that Mary complained to the HR department, and then Dwayne the next day was fired, but Mary was asked not to come into work because it was because of Mary, and they didn't want Mary there when Dwayne was asked to leave. But apparently when he was asked to leave, he came back and was banging on the windows and doors and asking to speak to Mary. And he claims none of that happened. He is still active on like different Facebook groups about her murder and claiming his innocence and saying that this did not take place. And that
there
him
other
and
witnesses?
She and exactly. I'm like, where do these other people? Why don't we talk to these people?
Yeah.
If I was doing this podcast, I'd talk to a couple more people. I know that.
Yeah. Sure.
So then Dwayne's saying, no, we like hung out afterwards. We still had mutual friends. Everything was cool. This was not an issue. Then there are the note said death to her.
I mean, what is he going to say? What's this guy going to say? You know?
Well, what if it's true?
Okay, I'm just saying. Though.
This is
it's
a
like,
reason,
we're just going
though,
to take him for his word?
If you're an asshole to someone at work and you're just a
Here's the
little
thing.
work scamp, when that person gets murdered, everyone's going to think it's
Yeah.
you no matter what. Because this guy could have just been an asshole at work. Who doesn't have someone at work that if they disappeared, you could go, it's that person? Like, if you died, who do you think people would think killed you?
You.
No way.
Of course, you're
Really?
Dwayne.
Yeah, they would go
You know
through
how many
podcasts.
notes you've left me? No, I think, no, they probably think you hired someone. But
No, I would never. That's the thing. If I ever wanted to murder someone,
yeah,
I would never hire someone.
you would do it yourself?
Yeah.
No way. You couldn't do it. I'm sorry. No offense.
First of all, I wouldn't do it because I would just be so scared of
That's what I'm saying.
it would be wrong, first of all, to take someone's life.
So you're
And
not
also,
getting rid of this body. What are you going to do?
if it was in self-defense, I'd have no problem murdering someone. Or if it was like they hurt my niece or nephew in some way and it was like just retribution.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw this clip the other night on Reddit. It was so good. This guy, his son was kidnapped and taken to another state. And yeah, I saw it taken on Reddit. I watched the whole movie.
Yeah, Taken 7. There's another one coming out. Anyways, go ahead.
And so this guy, this was in like the 70s, and this was on broadcast TV.
Before 9/11.
Way before 9/11, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
It's
it doesn't
details.
add up.
It doesn't.
And so
Hammed it.
this guy, his son was kidnapped and definitely molested and all of the things that happen when kids are kidnapped. And he was taken over state lines, and then they caught this guy and they freed the kid, and the kid went home. And I guess the guy got information about what happened to his child when the child was kidnapped. And the guy gets brought back, flown back to the state where he's going to be tried, where the kid is from, where he originally kidnapped him. And the guy, the father, goes to the airport
Murders.
incognito, and you
Oh, wow.
see him.
Like a mustache and fake nose?
Yes. And you see him at one of the payphones. And this is pre 9/11. You know that.
Yeah.
So there's
You get
no
there.
security, and you
Yeah.
can just hang out at the airport. He probably was friends with cops in the area who tipped him off that this guy was being brought in at this time and his plane was landing at this time. And the cameras are there covering the whole thing. and on live TV, you see this guy on a payphone pull his gun out and shoot this guy point blank in the head, kill him on national TV, and then he goes back to the payphone and hangs it up. And then the cops arrest him and go, "Why did you do that?" I think he did hardly any time.
Wait, what does it have to do with the? Did someone listen to
about me being murdered? Me murdering someone. That's what I would do.
No. I get that, but why did he hang up the phone? Like, was he worried
I don't know.
about
It's
the
just
charges?
funny. No,
Is that
no.
true?
It's just a true fact that he went back to the payphone after he shot the guy and hung it up.
Wonder
And then
if it
they
was a
go,
collect call.
"Paul, put your hands against the wall. Why'd you do this, Paul? We were tipping you off because we thought you were going to have a sign or something."
See, this is a great Morbid. This should be an episode. Maybe it is an episode and we don't know.
It probably is.
There was a Paul one that I saw. But wait, so...
A Paul one?
Paul something. One of the Morbid episodes had a name Paul in it. But
Wait, is this guy's name Paul? Or are you just
did
saying...
you say his name Paul?
No. His name... He was a Paul.
No, you said Paul where we... Oh, did you just make up a name?
No. I don't think I said Paul.
You said Paul. We were just letting you know so you can make a sign.
Oh, I think I just made up a name.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was like, why did you get Paul from anywhere? Which is one of my favorite names, by the way.
Here's
Paul.
the problem with this idea for a podcast, because I think you're very good at the story part of it.
I was just getting off on a tangent because it was an interesting thing, and I read it on Reddit, and we have to do Reddit dump.
You're already jumping ship here.
I know. I was on a tangent, but that's the way this podcast does.
I'm saying you're jumping ship from me giving you a compliment.
Oh. Okay, continue.
Well, now I'm debating on
Well,
giving
I'm
it to
talking
you.
about whether or not I can murder. I think that's pretty interesting and could be used against me someday.
For sure. But you would never be on a payphone.
No. God, no. Do they even exist anymore?
And post 9/11, you're not getting near that airport.
No, I'd buy a ticket just to get in the gate area.
Also, how many people died while they were getting moved?
I don't think I could shoot someone.
So-
It's just such a it's such a loud noise. I don't even like popping balloons.
But so many people, well, so many. I know like 3 died while they were getting moved from like one, like they were in on it. Like that doesn't happen anymore. Where they're like, we're moving.
Oh, Jack Ruby shooting.
Yeah, we're moving the guy now. It's like,
when did
what
they
are you
stop
doing
that? Because that would
Because you wanted to see him. Everyone wanted to see him.
Everyone loved the perp walk.
Yeah.
I think is what they call it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You'd be extremely good at doing the research, but you don't have the time to do what this girl does on the episode. I don't know. Maybe you do, which would be fantastic. Because I'd love to be the guy that just chimes in while you're telling me the story.
I'll tell you, I think I'm not like, I'm sure these girls do deep dives on certain things. It
wasn't that deep.
This would take a couple hours of reading, but for me, I'm pretty fast with this stuff. And I feel like if I did a murder podcast, I'm just going to leave out the stuff you don't even need to fucking know. I'm just going to leave you like the really weird details, and we're going to make some jokes along the way.
I want to do murder of when an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife murders the husband, and that's our thing.
Only women who are murdering?
Only women that murder. I think it's fun.
No, because that's like...
Sexist?
That makes it sexist in the other way. And I kind of like drawing attention to the fact that women get murdered a lot more because it makes us more on alert.
Okay.
So
back to Mary McGinnis. Oh, should we take
Mary
a break?
McGinnis, we can take a break if we want. We're going to go to break. So Mary McGinnis is...
It's Tuesday, folks. You know what that means. It's Tuesday.
She's bubbly. Yeah. She lived life to the fullest. Now, okay, you know what? I used to almost have a joke about this in my act when people say when someone's died, her smile, she would just walk into a room and she would light up the room. And I wanted to do a joke about every room that I walk into, I just turn on all the lights for the rest of my life so that when I do die, they go, when she walked in a room, she lit up the whole room. Literally, I would go on and turn on every light. And then my dad would go in, you know what? When she would walk in a room, she'd leave every light on all night long. There's a smokestack burning somewhere. Nikki, you know when you leave a light on in a room, there's a smokestack spewing out garbage clouds of smoke into the sky because you left this light on. And then I would shiver in bed all night and just think the world was ending. And it is. So Dwayne is the guy she works with who's causing trouble, who's turning around her pictures, left the note that said death to her. We don't know if he left it, but anyway.
Death to her is very like Hezbollah, or not Hezbollah.
So Mary gets trained in gunfire.
What's that called?
What? It's like jihad?
Yeah. Very jihadish of Dwayne.
Yeah.
Death to her. Anyways, go ahead. Yes.
Maybe he just didn't like the Joaquin Phoenix script movie that was, floating around at this time. The movie, Her.
Oh.
It was ahead of its time because it's about falling in love with an AI. And they didn't really even have cell phones back then. But Mary McGinnis did have a cell phone.
Oh.
Because she called her friend. She was at Eckert's.
Yes, I know this part.
Okay, tell me about this part that you remember from your...
My sleep. I thought this was a dream.
Okay.
So Eckert's was a drugstore that was similar to Walgreens Bottom.
A pre-9/11.
Walgreens Bottom, actually. I know that because Eckert's was everywhere in Florida at the time.
Oh, okay.
Big Southern thing, blue and white, I remember. So she was in Eckert's and she called her friend and said, this guy is acting real strange.
Which guy?
This guy in the store following her around. But she didn't say Dwayne. She didn't say she knew him.
No, she said he looked like a guy that hung out, that she met through Dwayne. Which I'm like, why are you meeting people through Dwayne? Is he just a guy that has people come by his office to like hang out with him?
Also, if you've cheated before, aren't you going to... Maybe she was fucking Dwayne. But anyways, so she's at
No, I don't think
Eckert's.
that's happening.
She's at Eckert's. Guy's following around.
And she's
she
talking
calls
to her
back
friend.
again, and next time she calls...
So she calls her friend and she goes, listen, I'm going to go back to
calls
the
911.
office because I have to log out of my computer. She was going around all day. She worked in healthcare and she would go do like visits with people and stuff. So she had to go back to the office. She goes, I'm going to log out of my computer and then I'm going home because I'm scared. Now, before this, because of the Dwayne incident and who knows what else, she asked her husband she wanted to get a gun and she went and got trained to use a gun.
Yes, I know this part. So he buys her a gun.
Yeah.
She calls 911. She's getting brutally beat to death, killed, and then gets...
You ruined the most crunchy parts.
No, this is it.
No, you just kind of like throw away the parts that are like the moment of like scariness.
Oh, okay.
And you just go, so when she's getting like...
She calls 911. 911. Then she hits 1.
12 minutes after she hangs up the phone with her friend at Eckert's and she pulls out of there.
I think.
She calls 911.
Yes.
And?
She says, oh, wrong number.
What does she say? Do you remember?
She goes, I'd like a thin crust.
She calls 911.
She calls 911, pre-911, and she said, she goes, she's saying, oh my God, I'm getting attacked.
Yeah. And apparently on the tape, you hear her murder.
She gets shot by the gun that her husband got for her.
Yes. And they find her car. She is, and the other woman, by the way, was found in the passenger side seat. Her wedding ring missing. Her other jewelry on her. Her purse missing. That was the first Mary. This Mary was found in her car. It's not burnt. There is one bullet hole. Her gun is in the passenger seat. The passenger side door, though, is open and has blood on it. So anyone who looks at this would at first maybe think it was a suicide because it's like a bullet hole to the head. But once you examine the body and like all the forensics, she was also beat up before that because she had bruises on herself. She also had cloth fibers in her mouth. So she was either like an Andrew Collin and would like chew on things or she was gagged or
both.
Yeah, and it's very sad. And she was murdered with her own gun.
And her ring got taken.
Which she kept, and her ring got taken, which she kept underneath the seat. Now, the cops say they're not going to release this 911.
Because it's too brutal.
It sent chills through the bloodstream of anyone who's listened to it. Are you someone who likes to hear that kind of stuff?
I say no, but then like every now and then a death will come up on TikTok for no reason, which is really fucked up. It's like some weird like Russian video of like someone getting like just murdered, and like I watch it.
Like what? Like what's the worst thing you've seen? Reddit dump.
What's wild is it's so fucked up that I probably like protect myself.
Really?
By not remembering it.
Or you fall asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's 15 seconds. Jay. So, mind you,
But you really don't remember the most. I pretty much know every single disturbing video that is on the internet that people talk about that they saw back in the day when they would go to watchpeopledie.com, when they would go to
Murders of Death. What was it called?
Faces of Death. And there were all these. A lot of those were fake, but a lot were real. But I pretty much know what happens in all of them. I've never seen any of them. I would never want to watch a beheading video. I've never seen any death on anything, but I can tell you what happens in all of them because I read descriptions about it. And the one that everyone says is the worst audio is a man. Is everyone trigger warning? Is everyone?
Yeah, trigger
and
warning.
Please don't look this up. Like, really, don't be one of those people that's like, I want to look at it because I want to. Because these are really not good for you. Honestly, murder podcasts are not good for you. I was in a funky state of mind after listening to this thing.
I was too.
It does not titillate me. It definitely is morbid, which
they talk about it too. How they talk about it, they're very
wow.
Yeah, wow. Oh my god. Whoa.
Jeez.
Bloody.
Wait, I wrote down Jeez at one point. Oh, she goes, so the passenger door was left open. Mary had been beaten severely and gagged at some point. And she goes, Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a lot of that.
There was a lot of
They
that.
didn't really break down anything. It was weird. They just go, whoa. It was like oh my god. It was like a video when someone reaction video.
They would give commentary on it, but that's what people want. They want to have a Wikipedia article read to them.
Yes.
In soothing tones of two people going like, now this is weird. This
Yes.
next part, like giving little things like, now you don't normally seen this. Now this made me scratch my head.
That's what it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
But to say, geez, wow, after you say someone, I mean, is it better that I'm like, oh, she was either Andrew and chewed on something and then.
No,
or
it's
she
not
was
any
gagged.
better, but it's at least a little bit more specific.
Ouch.
Yowza.
She was found with several bullet holes to the temple. Ouchie.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Like we just have like, it was a little bit, it seemed like an SNL sketch of what a girls murder podcast would be at times, which, listen, #1 on the charts. I have no reason.
They're doing it right.
They're doing something right.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about it? Why are we doing a whole episode about it? They're winning. So,
Winning.
this is crazy though that they find 2 women named Mary Morris that were murdered in their cars 40 minutes from each other. We don't know which because this is an official murder podcast.
Yeah.
And
not yet.
Also both their wedding rings are missing, which I didn't know this, but they say in the podcast that when someone's wedding ring is, and sometimes I say wedding wing.
Yeah. Because you will.
I have to infantilize it because I'm never going to get one.
One day.
One day a man's going to get on his knees and give me a wedding wing. Today I had the boat cap. We were on a boat filming some things, and the boat captain, I had on MIDI rings. Do you know what MIDI rings are?
No. Are they on the middle finger?
Yeah. Well, no, they're in the middle of your finger.
Oh, okay.
Most rings are MIDI rings for me because they can't go past my big old knuckles, but
Yeah.
they're like in the middle. And they can slip off easier because they're just not fully on. So I gave him my MIDI rings because I was going to jump in the water.
Should be a bracelet for a normal person.
How dare you? Or a cock ring for you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. No, damn it. The other way.
Yes.
Damn it.
Old tuna can cock
Ham
over.
drop. Take it back.
You can't ham drop a ham drop.
So I gave the guy my rings. And then at the end, I go, can I get my rings back? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I go, will you get on one knee to give them to me? And he was like, what? And I was like, it's just a joke about you. It's Rick. And he was like, oh, I thought they were earrings. And it was just a totally missed bit.
Oh, man.
But I tried, man.
Are you marrying
I
him?
tried. Yeah, I have to
You're
now.
engaged
He
now.
gave me earrings that he thought were rings.
So why? So just because of the name, so then if the names are the same.
Well, what they thought, it was a hitman who got a hit from Mike, the second Mary's husband.
Okay.
Because Mike actually also had an insurance. There was an insurance policy that he was going to cash in on, but it wasn't going to go to him. It was going to go to Katie, her daughter, and we don't know how much it was for. But Mike also, when he reported the murder, the cops wanted to talk to him. He wanted to lawyer up immediately, which is suspect. But would you murder up immediately? Let's say if someone
Lawyer up. Liar.
Would you murder up too?
I'd murder up.
Would you?
Yeah, I would need a
If I
lawyer.
went missing and someone said they wanted to talk to you, would you say you would and you didn't do it, would you get a lawyer?
Knowing me, I'd probably.
No, if you did it, you would probably not get a lawyer. Or would you?
If I did it?
No, if you. Okay, so say I get brutally murdered
Yeah.
and you're at the
I know, I'm
you're
just
my
thinking.
closest of kin at that moment, and you didn't do it, would you lawyer up before you talk to the cops?
The only reason why is because I remember
At the crime scene.
in Make a Murderer,
Yeah.
there's that guy who's the kid that was kind
Do
of
you
slow.
relate to him? Yeah,
a little
he's
bit.
very slow, Andrew.
I know. I'm just a little quicker than him, but I
They told
feel
him
like,
if he confessed to the murder, he could go home and watch the Royal Rumble.
yeah, I would do the same
he
thing, but it
believes
would
that.
be the Masters or something,
Yeah.
or U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, I murdered Nikki. Can I go on? It's day 4.
I mean, you should lawyer up because you don't know what you're doing. But if I was innocent, I wouldn't think to lawyer up. But that doesn't mean this guy is guilty.
Yes.
But he did ask the lawyer up immediately before he talked to them, and he refused to take a lie detector, which also does not mean you're guilty because those can be willy-nilly. Do you know how to beat a lie detector
Yeah,
test?
you tighten up your asshole.
Yeah, and then when you answer a lie, you let it go. because it will counteract the tenseness that you will have from having that line.
Yeah, it's really weird. Did they hook it up to your asshole? How do you know?
No. But wait, that is what? Why
would
is
your
that?
asshole?
Wait, why does everyone tell you to do that?
I don't know. I think.
And I recently heard if you're getting attacked by a dog, you put a finger up the dog's asshole. I
Why
just want
did
to put
you
that out
almost
there.
start doing baby voice again when you started saying?
And I heard that if you're ever attacked by a Rottweiler, you just put your little baby finger up the Rottweiler's butt. And the Rottweiler will stop in your face.
If it's biting you, yes, that is a thing. Like
I didn't know
lockjaw,
that.
the only way to unlock a lockjaw is to horn them up and then suck their cock.
Horn-
No, I'm just
oh.
kidding. Like, it's just funny to think like Rottweilers will stop killing you if you fucking make them come.
If you just play with their balls a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like gentle. Be like, dude,
Gentle, not too hard.
I'm not
dude.
mad
I'm
at
gonna
you.
bite down harder.
I'm not mad at you.
So back to the story. So this
So
was
they
the
think
weird.
Mike did it.
Yeah, everyone kind of. Well, the family on Facebook now apparently, like all these murder podcasts. I also listened to the Generation Y, WHY version of this story too before you knocked on the door. And do you remember when you knocked on the door what I said?
Dwayne here.
Yeah, I said, is that Dwayne Young?
Yes.
Which is the name of the guy the woman worked with. That they said his name a million times in this podcast. So Andrew was like, no, it's Andrew. And I go, Dwayne Young from
Yeah,
work? And
no
you were
idea.
like, what? And I go, does that not ring a bell? And you go, no. And I'm like, then we're going to have a good old podcast.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is a major plot point.
Look, I don't know. When I hear Dwayne, I think The Rock, and sorry, I will never think anything bad. Here's the thing: why weren't they able to figure it out? So what's the ending? What's the conclusion here? Or should we not get to that yet?
No. Well, the things that I thought were interesting was that the daughter, Katie, gets the life insurance policy. She won't say how much it's for. It doesn't really matter. It's probably a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
But Katie, people are starting to notice months, weeks after 40 miles after the murder, she has her mom's wedding ring on. And everyone's going, wait, that was a big factor of this case because the case was like obviously getting a lot of news around the Houston area because it was two Mary Morrises, both their wedding rings were missing. And often when your wedding ring is missing, that's what a hitman steals to then bring back to the husband to be like, I did it. Now, if I'm hiring a hitman to kill my wife, I'm going to go, don't bother with the ring part. I know that's a whole like part of what you do. And he's like, no, you know what? That's like tradition, man. He has a shirt tucked in.
Yeah, save it for the movie with a belt on. I think that might have been the first episode that we did. But wait,
But like,
Can I ask a question?
Bring it back.
So
I don't
the ring
need you to
was
do your
taken-
little ritual.
So the ring was
Kill
taken.
my wife and let's not ever talk again.
No, I get that, but the ring was taken from Mary, and then
Yes.
next thing you know, the daughter's
wearing it around
and they-
town, and people go, "What the fuck?" But then he goes, "Nope, we actually found it around the house. We thought it was missing."
Oh, that was the other one.
But
Okay.
she wasn't wearing it that day, which doesn't really make sense because, well, I want to know, is she someone that would take off her wedding ring? Why don't we know that? Because there are certain women that they'll take it off to do the dishes. They'll take it off when they're getting fingered by someone else or fingering someone else.
Or maybe she was cheating, so she took the ring off.
Or they're about to jump off a yacht to film a show.
Yeah, she took the ring off.
It's a midi.
No, it's a downy.
cock ring.
It's all the way down.
Yeah.
Thing. Bottomy. And then
So the daughter is wearing it,
Yeah.
which I think is a little weird because she's the daughter from her first marriage.
that's what I was gonna ask.
So she's just hanging out with this
So
new
she's
guy.
not Mike's real
No.
daughter. Okay.
So Mike and her are just eating dinner with this ring on.
yeah.
And then also Jay. Remember Jay? Remember when you screamed his name before?
Yeah.
We'll tell you what happened with this is the creepiest part of the whole thing. Jay, who is the first Mary's husband, the one that was all burnt up.
Okay.
Very, very savagely and sadly with horse manure, by the way. And she enjoyed riding horses. So it's a
Yes.
little bit like, wait, did this person know to use the thing she loved most against her? That would be like someone, using golf clubs as kindling to kill you,
Yes.
But it turns out that horse manure actually is really good to generate fire.
Well, it'd probably be they'd use the woods instead of the irons.
Are they actually made of wood?
No.
Oh.
But it's just for the joke.
Yeah. Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Do you think Tiger Woods was kind of happy that his last name was
Yeah, he
a
has
golf
the
club,
best
a
golf
kind
name
of
ever.
clubs?
He's a fucking Tiger Woods. That's like Lion Irons. Fucking badass name.
What?
Fucking.
Do you wish you
It's
had
like
a different
fucking
name?
Cheetah Putter. Do I wish I had a different name? A lot of times.
Yeah,
but
Joey
then,
golf cart.
Yeah. No, it has to be an animal.
Tommy title. Oh, yeah, okay.
Arv bark.
Giraffe golf cart. I'm doing a soft G and a hard G. You do wish you had a different last name? Now, are there other Andrew Collins? Like, if you got murdered, what are the odds that have you met
with
another?
No S? There's very few in the world.
How many people? Did you ever think about just adding an S to make life easier for you, for everyone who tries to say your name?
My name isn't even real. My grandpa changed it from Cohen. My name's not even real. And I don't even know if that was
real name is
real.
Andrew Cohen.
Yeah.
And he changed it to not sound Jewish?
He changed it to get a job in Texas, not Houston. I don't know. Maybe 40 miles out.
Okay. And, a new suspect has just arrived.
Yeah, Marvin Collin. My grandpa.
Cohen. Nay, Cohen.
Was Cohen. He changed it to Collin to kill Mary.
Okay. Now we're on to something. This is adding up.
It is.
So he changed it to Collin. Why?
Because his friend didn't get a job who had a Jewy last name.
Oh.
So he changed it, got the job, apparently.
So Collin is not, there are no Collins out there?
There's a very few. One guy hit me up just because we had the same name.
Is there Colin Andrews? Have you ever met someone named Colin Andrews?
Oh, that has a nice ring to it, though.
That's cool. Would you ever name your son Colin? Colin? I think that's cool.
It's pretty nice.
That would be awesome. You gotta have
Colin would be cool, too.
Colin is awesome.
Two hard C's.
No, you want to name your son Henry.
I do, but... Wait, can we... So my grandpa got the job, never took the job in Texas, but he kept the name. Weird. He just didn't want to sound too Jewy, apparently.
Yeah, Cohen is such a cool name, I think.
Well, there's Andy Cohen.
Yeah, Mark Cohen. He's a comedian.
Oh. There's no other Nikki
the
Glaser.
Cohen
How
brothers?
many Nikki Glazers are there in the world?
Probably not a lot. There are others, though. I've met them. I met one who was a Nicole Glaser.
She look like you?
No, not at all. And we had different middle names, but there are Nikki Glazers a lot. And
there's definitely a lot of Andrew Cohens that probably look a lot like me.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Cohen, I might have done better. Have
you ever met an Andrew Cohen and gone, that's my name?
Well, Andy Cohen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, that's your name?
That's my name.
That's wild.
I know, it's weird.
Wait, why have you never said that to me before?
Because I didn't want you to freak out.
Oh my God, watch what happens live.
I know.
Whoa.
I know.
Well, we've been in an elevator with Andy Cohen. Wouldn't you think it's interesting to be like, my real name's Andy Cohen?
He wouldn't care.
No, he actually wouldn't at all.
He would go, wow, actually, I'm Andy Cohen.
Because it's actually a common name.
Yeah. Well, I would be Andrew Cohen. But here's the thing.
But you went by Andy and...
My dad told me to take my middle name as my last, like Andrew Todd. Yeah.
That's not... What are you just throwing in boys' first names for last names? You can't do that.
Well, I have two first names, which is kind of cool. Andrew Collin.
Well, no, I know.
Yeah.
Wait, who said it's kind of cool?
It's me. Oh, no one, really.
George Michael.
Yeah, someone said that if you have two first names. So what did Jay do?
Jay, the sweet husband of 17 years who watched his wife go to work every morning.
Yes. Who clocked it?
He starts getting he gets 3 calls from a weird number that just asks for his wife that says, is Mary there? And Mary's been dead, very high profile death. Everyone knows about it. And their number is not listed in the phone book. And this is happening, I don't know how many months afterwards, but it's happening a while after the murders.
Yeah.
And he calls the detectives after the first 2 calls. And he says, I'm getting a call asking for Mary. And I think he says Mary isn't there, but the detective says, hey, give him this number to call next time and say, you can reach her here. And then it'll be my line. And then we could record it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why didn't you just tap his phone at that moment so we could hear the voice? Like, they're going to call again. And they did call again. So he gives the number. And in the middle of giving the number, the guy goes, oh, got it. And then just hangs up. So who knows what that is? But that creeps me the fuck out. Any kind of call afterwards, just really.
Like a star 6-7
it's
situation.
Unsettling. Yeah. Oh, well, one time. My sister.
Why is the phone call? Why is that the thing that got us? Because that made me chill a little bit.
Isn't that so creepy that after the fact, after she's dead, someone's just asking to talk to her, some man, and they would call at weird times, like 9 a.m. and then 10 p.m. and then 12 a.m.
Here's the thing, though. If it's a high...
Oh, my God. I just got a chill. I felt like a ghost just walked through.
I think
the air
AC
vent just
turned
went on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
I
Jesus
felt that,
Christ.
too, and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, Jesus, Mary.
Here's the thing.
Mary Morris.
If there's a ghost in here, they speak Spanish, and they don't know what we're talking about anyways. But
That's a good point.
Okay. Isn't it so funny a ghost speaking different languages and be like, dude, I don't know.
Also, so at one point they find that someone has made calls from a a phone card that was in Mary's purse. The first Mary whose car was burned up, that was in her purse, a phone card. I guess people used to use phone cards that had minutes on it. And someone had used like 2,000 minutes or something, $2,000 in minutes. And it was someone in a town in Texas hours away.
With myself.
Yeah.
Damn trip. Hard one.
So they trace the calls to a payphone.
Yeah. Oh, is it the guy that killed them?
And they did trace those weird calls to a payphone. Paul? No, it's not Paul. They did trace those one calls that I just talked about, the creepy ones, and they were at a like a apartment complex, and they could not find who did it. Okay. So they still to this day don't know. Well, they found that this girl in Texas, this young girl, was using this phone card that she found in a purse that she found outside a convenience store. And this is many, many miles and moons, at least 40 to 50 miles or moons away from the crime scene, later in a purse. Now they go, where's the purse? And she goes, I gave it to my neighbor. Apparently this purse was ugly. She didn't want anything to do with it. She just took the phone card. I'm just weirded out by a purse that has nothing except a phone card in it that is just disposed of. So then they find the purse. The purse, they go to the neighbor who she gave it to. The neighbor gives the purse and is like, here you go. They bring it back to Katie, to Jay.
Yes.
And his daughter. And they go, that's not mom's purse. She's never worn that. So this weird phone card that was hers, that was traced to her, ended up in a different purse. Or they just don't pay attention to what their moms wear. Could you pick out your mom's purse from childhood?
No.
I could, for sure. I loved my mom's purses. They smelled like lipstick and cigarettes and like bubble gum.
I know, I'm just thinking.
Lottery receipts.
No, I couldn't.
Oh, I love the smell. There's just some weird
there was
smell.
Marlboro light cigarettes, hundreds, with red lipstick on them.
Yes.
No, there wouldn't be red lipstick on them. That'd be after the fact. But I would know
they would.
Mom's.
She wouldn't. Yeah, she doesn't like mark them all up before she smokes them.
You know who I hate the most?
Who do you hate the most? The daughter?
No, wait. Not even part of the story.
I think, okay.
Maybe you could think of it. We're talking about cigarettes. I like doing this with you because I think our brains are very...
Sometimes they are synced up in such a weird way.
Think about cigarettes and the person you hate the most when it comes to cigarettes.
I mean, I don't know who you would openly talk about hating.
No, it's not. It's many individual. It's not an individual.
Oh.
It's this kind of person that does this with cigarettes.
That throws out their butts out the car window.
No.
And doesn't dispose of them in the trash like a good person.
I hate the one with the Lucky cigarette who fucking flips it over when they open the pack.
What do you mean?
They take one cigarette and they put it upside down.
I don't know that person. Man, we're off, dude. Oh, I don't want to know. So they save one for the last?
It's like the lucky one.
Man, dude. I used to when I smoked Parliaments, I liked the recessed filter because I felt like it wasn't directly on my tooth, like yellowing my tooth.
Oh.
I loved those. I wanted to say, though, that the phone call is so creepy. One time, my sister, my cousin JD, and me were all left alone during the day. I think my mom was out of town. My dad had to go to work. It was during the day. My cousin JD was like 13. I was probably 11. We were fine to be at home. It's a good neighborhood, whatever. My dad would be home. It'd still be light outside. We were playing Nintendo, and then we got a call. And my sister does the classic when she picks up the phone. Final thought. When my sister picks up the phone, she does the thing that my parents have trained her to do and say, if someone asks for us when we're not there, just say we're in the shower, right? So we're home, but we're like...
Oh, my God. I'm like getting chills from this.
So, we were fucking freaked out. It was during the day. So she goes, he's in the shower. And the guy goes, yeah? Well, was he all naked and soapy? And my sister hangs up the phone, and she goes, no, before she hung up, she goes, I mean, I guess. Because... I mean,
how did you fuck that line up?
I don't know. I freaking forgot. I'm so bad with telling stories. Like, it really is criminal how bad
that was criminal, but it was very funny that you added it after.
It sucks that I added. I forgot the funniest part.
By the way,
of it.
this seems to be in your stand-up. It's one of the funniest stories
She goes,
ever.
I guess so.
I guess so. It's so
because
funny.
it is true. I think she analyzed it and was like, yeah. And then the guy just hung up. And she comes downstairs. We're playing like Donkey Kong or like fucking Sonic. What's the Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation? I think it was around by this point. She comes running downstairs and she's like, you guys, someone just called and said his dad naked and soapy. And we just, when it gets into that, like, it just an echo chamber of crazy, of like conspiracies.
You're envisioning
we're
this guy.
Facebook 2019 in our own little world of like, now the house is surrounded by creeps that are coming to murder us. We lock ourselves in my parents' bathroom. My cousin JD starts screaming, I have a gun, motherfucker, like to no one. We start getting razor blades out of my dad's shaving kit to wield against someone who's not. This is during the day, 3:00 in the summer in the St. Louis suburb summer. Like nothing is going to get us. Then we get so scared, we call the cops. And so they arrive and the cops are just like, okay. And then my dad is called at work and he comes home and he's like, what are you doing? Like, guys.
How old are you guys?
My cousin JD was probably 13. I was probably 11. And my sister's probably 9.
Were the cops saying anything that you were left alone?
I mean, I think they were a little bit like, and my dad was like, oh, gee. You know, it was not like the best thing to do, but this was the 90s.
Your dad put
so
soap on
it wasn't
him, so
like
he
now.
knew that the story added up?
He was like,
I've been home this whole time. I have soap all over me.
I just remember my dad just being so disappointed at us and kind of looking at me like, Nikki, you're smarter than this. And I just kind of got caught up in it.
No, I would get caught up in a heartbeat.
But I just remember just thinking my cousin was so cool because he was like, motherfucker, we have knives and guns.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I could fuck you right now. I mean, I did say that to my cousin, but I just remember being whatever horniness is for your cousin that's going to protect you and like finally step up. My cousin who was kind of a pussy all the time and like just a little bit nervous about doing any sport and like swam with his shirt on. Finally, he was like making up that we had guns.
Can you imagine if you go, we got guns, motherfucker,
like Home
and then you
Alone.
just hear from outside the door go, are they soapy guns?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, I thought about that voice for so long and it was probably some telemarketer
And you didn't even
that
hear
was
the
just
voice.
like, and my sister probably made it up, dude.
Who, Shaq? So here, this is hey, I'm Drip. So,
Dude.
So wait.
One time my
Can I
sister
ask a
called me
question?
in college crying. My sister's a very beautiful person. One time she called me drunk crying. And I told this story earlier today in the car. She called me crying in college. And this is a girl that like did not have any problems with her looks. She was very popular. She never tried, but she just got attention. Always told she was a model. Beautiful, beautiful girl. She called me crying one night. We were not close in college, but this made us very close because she called me crying. She said, Nikki, I was walking down Tennessee, which is a street. And she was like, and this car drove by me and my friends, and he goes, hey, Shaq, because I'm tall. And I was just like, Lauren, fuck you. And I laughed so hard, and she was really upset. But that, for some reason, that just like really made me love her so much because I saw a vulnerability of like, oh, even beautiful people can feel really insecure sometime. And like my sister, who I project so much perfection onto, felt really sad in that moment.
It was weird she was in blackface, you know. But
it was Halloween. And it was a different time.
It was a different time. It was post.
You guys, I'm kidding.
It was pre-post. Yeah, she wasn't in blackface. I have a question. Wait, shit. Oh, people don't know.
People don't know what happened to who did this. By the way, no one was ever arrested for this. These murders, they're still on the loose, and we may never know.
If it happened,
but the cops
have
said
like
that
a year
they are
ago,
not connected. They are not connected.
People would have found out.
Mary.
People would have found out. So I mean. There's so much shit now with DNA and everything that, like, these people would have been caught if it happened now, I think.
Yeah?
I think so. Here's the thing.
But first of all, the girls on the podcast, did you remember the part where it's like, and the car was burned? That's actually a really good way to cover your tracks. It's like, who doesn't think of... Are murderers not burning things? Because I thought that was like the number one way to get rid of evidence is to just...
But it's hard to burn a body.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Which is really weird, actually, to think that your body's like really...
If you had to murder someone, if I was going to murder you, if you didn't murder someone, how would you do it?
Wait. Oh, I got to murder someone else?
On the next Nikki Glaser podcast.
I would, I'd have them watch a lot of my stand-up. And then just
they'd watch you murder.
And then they'd kill themselves. Because I kill so hard. Anyways, wait. The phone call.
Yeah.
Can we go back to that for a second?
Yes.
No one... If you're like a teenager now, you don't know
what a phone card is.
The fear of hearing a house phone call after watching a movie like Scream or like where like
Sydney.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scary movie?
When the phone rings
Sydney?
at 2 a.m. and you have to like it either keeps ringing, which is scary as fuck, or you have to get up in the dark and go pick up the phone late at night. Fucking wild.
I sometimes do get scared though when I'm listening to something on my phone, like that's a little bit scary, or watching something and all of a sudden FaceTime or something pops up. And I'll kind of jump, like or a text will come through.
Mm-hmm. Or just a phone call.
That can't be the same though.
No, there's nothing
I'm
like
a jumpy bitch though, man. I'm easy to scare.
No, but a phone is like, fuck you. You know, like
I'm mad. I'm mad. I had to listen to a murder podcast today for this
and now
episode.
You have to sleep
and
alone.
now I have to sleep alone in this weird section of this hotel.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You'll be great.
Yeah.
But I'm melatonin in tonight because...
No, but then you'll die easier.
No, I'll be asleep for it. Just like you were. I'll sleep through mine like you slept through Mary McGinnis's.
Now that I think about it, you're getting close to that.
Thank you. Well, now that we're doing murder podcast and you think that murder is one of murder podcast hosts.
Yeah. Makes sense. You know who was one of the number one people wanting to be murdered? The guy from America's Most Wanted.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, did you just make that up?
Huh?
I will tell you what I'm doing, though. I don't understand. Do you lock...
I made out with his daughter.
Whoa, cool, dude.
Yeah. Not Adam.
I wonder if girls do this. I will lock my bedroom door if I'm staying in a room, if I'm staying at a place, or even in my own apartment. If you ever once tried to open my bedroom door when I had said, "Good night, Andrew," you wouldn't be able to get. I lock my door because I think that if just having an extra barrier up is good.
Yeah.
Anyone who sleeps with their bedroom door open, you are fucking asking to get murdered. And
I don't know. I think it's like when you take a condom out. You take a condom out and like
put hot sauce in it.
No, when you go out like to a club and you bring a condom, you're not gonna get laid. You don't bring a condom, you'll get laid. It's kind of like if you lock the door. If you lock the door, you're getting killed. If you keep the door open,
but no, you'd make so much noise. I would at least scream and like be able to alert some people.
What about you? What if you already locked the killer inside your room?
Oh, well then it's just an easy door open. It's just the difference between opening the door.
I'm saying the killer's in your closet in your room. You just locked them. You locked yourself inside with the killer.
But it's not like I lock it and I have to go I have to do a bunch of bolts and stuff. I just open the door and it locks. You know, it's like the same as if I just opened it.
Yeah, but he's inside there now.
Well, fuck, Andrew.
Under your bed.
What if there was a guy right here, right now, listening to this whole thing being like, it's so ironic I was going to murder her later and she's doing a murder podcast. It'll be the last thing that people hear. Like he's in the cabinet right now, kind of like folded up like, God, when are they going to finish this thing? And then he's just, I would just love a murderer to go, it's so ironic.
If there was a loud noise right now, I would shit. I'd fucking piss and shit right now.
I know. I'm so happy there isn't. Thank you, God. Oh my God. Please no. Wait, spirits. If there are any spirits in this room, make it known right now.
Here, wait, I got this. Spirito no bueno.
Spirits have rhyming dictionaries. Just give them a second.
Translation? All right. Man, this was actually really fun, and I think people are really going to like this.
I hope. We'll
they're
going
to like it or they're going to hate it, but I think some people are really going to like what we just did.
At least we tried something new. You got to take risks. If you didn't like it, that's fine, but a lot of people, listen, this wasn't the best murder to cover, but I do think that we should do deep dives on just things that are interesting that I find on Reddit that I go into I just want to tell you all about, because even the Casey Anthony story is insane, and I know so many facts about it that people don't know that are so fucking interesting. And yes.
I love it. Like on you heard it here first. I have to tell you what's going on. No dive. And now do people know that? You don't dive. You don't do any deep diving. You don't even do shallow dive on when I bring up stories.
Wait.
For when you hear it here first.
Oh yeah. Those are shallow.
So now you want to do
And now I want a deep dive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That'd be so funny.
You want to deep dive into a shallow grave.
Yeah, I want to dive into,
All right, this is getting long.
Yeah, we got to go. Okay. Hey, don't be cool out there and...
Jack the Ripper.